Hey, thanks for clicking this video. Just a friendly reminder, this is a clip from my previous live stream. And if you want to catch me live in action so you can join the conversation, just remember I live stream Sunday through Friday. That's 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'm going to post the time right here because I know some people don't want to Google. So nevertheless, go ahead and enjoy this video. So one day, I wish I can wake up in the morning and change this possibly. Maybe one day on this channel, I could change the name of this channel, change my entire branding from why I hate politics to why I love politics, or why I can stand politics, or why I'm really optimistic on politics. But currently, I hate it. And it's a love-hate. Okay, I know before you guys start typing in the comments, oh man, you should understand why you should be involved. Like, hey, that's why I have a political commentary channel, is because I am involved in the conversations. But the reasons why I want to love politics one day is because I understand it's the decisions that directly affect our day-to-day life. Like down to the things we buy, to the places we live, to some of the cultural changes throughout America. 9 times out of 10 can go all the way back to policy decisions. And that is important. And it can affect your opportunities and your health because of policies and job security and job quality. Once again, can go back to the policy decisions that people we vote for or should be voting for. It all goes back. But of course, in this moment, I hate politics because one, greedy politicians take advantage of a broken system to consolidate their power and continue to consolidate wealth. Obvious. Go ahead, look at the data. Not making this up, not going off of vibes and feelings. Look at the data. 2, they maintain the broken system. They don't want to fix it. Republicans or Democrats, the established Democrats, they don't want to fix it. Because why? Hey, there you go. If it's working for the few and it's not working for you, that's how they want it to work. That simple. And when it comes to the liberal Democrats, the establishment, the centrists, the moderates, whatever you want to call them, neoliberals, they are not working for you. Plain and simple. I don't know how else to get that point across. I wish I knew other languages so I can tell you that in another language. They do not care about you. Say it with me. The liberals do not care about. There you go. They don't care about you. So why do we continue to sit here and hope and pray that one day they will see the light and actually get things done that benefits you in the long run? Not going to happen. So, to add some proof to the pudding, let's go ahead and watch this 1 minute, 21 second video before we get into Emma Vigeland interview with Higher Learning, Van Lathan, because she brings this up. Emma brings this conversation up with Chuck Schumer, 2016. This wasn't back in the 80s or 70s or 60s, 2016. And this will kind of give you an insight on their strategy within the Democratic Party. Let's take a listen.
Of blue-collar, high school-educated voters we will lose is smaller than people think, because the people who go for Trump's appeal, particularly immigration and, you know, the them versus us, they're already Republicans. Here's an interesting fact. High school-educated males Democrats are pro-immigration reform. Republicans are anti-immigration reform. Both high school educated in the same places. So in other words, the kind of appeal that Trump has brought out above the table, Republicans have always been using below the table, and it's already won a large percentage of those people over. On the other hand, Trump is so new that for every, this is the second point, for every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2, 3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin. The voters who are most out there figuring out what to do are not the blue-collar Democrats. They are the college-educated Republicans who lean Republican or are independent and in the suburbs.
All right, let's flash.
So, hey, newsflash, they don't care about your working ass. They don't care about that. And it's part of their strategy. It's not like they don't have the correct messaging or they just don't know what to say or how to appeal to these people. They don't care if they lose blue-collar workers. They don't care. And that should explain a lot of what they're trying to accomplish here. All right, let's go ahead, get to our conversation, and let's hear Miss Vigeland talk about this. Let's see, we need 105. Once again, if you guys want to watch this entire conversation, this is, boom, Higher Learning. Go ahead, subscribe. Van Lathan and what is this, Rachel Lindsay, amazing. Like, this is a podcast where you need pencil and paper to take down some notes. Easy. So once again, we're not going to go through the whole interview, but go after this video and watch it yourself.
Race. And if we really, really want to combat corruption, I want to see more states and cities adopt things like matching funds.
Super quick follow-up. You say everyone likes a winner, which is very, very true. Do you think that what we saw in that race locally can be scalable and something that could be done on a national level?
Yeah, so there's obstacles, you know, what you're saying. Like, the matching funds thing was a big success, sure, but we also have social media, the bully pulpit on our side, and the fact that just our ideas actually are ideas, and they're not just let's cut Medicaid and throw millions and millions of people off their health care and raise your premiums by double or whatever it is. Like, if Democrats are unafraid of selling their ideas, I think that there's momentum, especially with Trump off the ballot, to cut through some of the noise and provide something in that way. But this has to be a turn back to really the Obama coalition, which has been decimated by the leadership of the Democratic Party since he was first elected in 2008, which is that Chuck Schumer said in 2016, for every working class voter we lose in Western Pennsylvania, we will gain 2 in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And that has been one of the greatest failures of Democratic politics in the history of the party, if not the greatest, because that's just not happened. We have lost working class, blue collar voters. Why I like a guy like Graham Pladner is with warts and all.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not, like I said, by coincidence. That's not by accident. It is now understandable to see why it felt weird. It felt weird. The Democratic Party is slowly trying to adopt Republican talking points, a Republican stance when it comes to healthcare or when it comes to immigration or education or jobs or taxes or wealth inequalities. Like, it's like, wait, why are you guys sounding like Republican light? Why do you sound like a diet version of a Republican? Why? And people called us crazy. And yes, we might be a little crazy. I might be a little crazy. Okay, I'll own that one, okay? But it makes sense now because they feel that is the way to maintain power, to get the voters that they want, essentially probably more wealthy. And that's what they're trying to achieve. So when folks like you and I are like, hey, excuse me, is there any policies to benefit us? And when all we receive is breadcrumbs, now we wonder why Harris lost in 2024. Now we wonder when we look at the data and realize Democratic voters didn't show up on 2024 elections and didn't vote. Can we stop wondering why now and just look at the cold hard truth that they are not for you? Soon as you can accept that, the sooner you can start reevaluating your principles and your integrity. Just like myself, I was never always a progressive. I had to learn. I had to figure out the hard way and make that decision. Simple.
I think that that is the kind of guy that can win in areas like that, in redder states. And not everyone is going to have perfect politics that agree with, mine and yours maybe. But if they are endorsed by unions and they put working people first and they are of the community, that means that they're not bought. Why does the AIPAC thing take off? Mm-hmm. It's because it's a shorthand for people to understand. Are you bought or are you not? Can you stand up for me on this? Or can you stand up on this issue? Because then you can probably stand up for me on other ones. And that's my feeling about it is basically if the Democratic Party gets out of our way, my hope is that the momentum from this, the outrage and people's
and just to add to it, once again, this political commentary, suck it up. But once again, it doesn't make sense for you to vote for a politician and let's say their goal is to try to make healthcare affordable for you. Prescriptions is out the roof. Your insurance bills is out the roof. And you're looking for someone to relieve you of that. Why would you vote for the person who is getting paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from the same insurance companies? What sense does that make? I need to know. Maybe I'm missing something. Guess what? It doesn't. I thought about this long and hard. Okay, it doesn't make sense. That's why progressives pride themselves on supporting candidates that don't take corporate interest money, lobbyists, super PACs. We pride ourselves because we know they are not bought and paid for. That's a really simple understanding, right? I think so.
Just kind of material conditions will lead to more candidates like this.
Do you view the Democrats as controlled opposition?
Yes.
It's hard not to think that. I mean, I think on a national level, the Senate is such a rotten institution. There was a time under Biden when there were 50 Democratic senators and 50 Republicans. And the 50 Democratic senators represented 40 million more people than the 50 Republicans just because of the nature of the Senate. Montana, Wyoming they each get 2 senators. So does California, so does New York. Doesn't make sense, but it's already undemocratic just when you look at it like that. And then we have the filibuster, right? Where you have to get a 60 vote threshold for basically any legislation that doesn't involve the budget. And it means that body is there as a check, or has turned into a check on democracy. Like the House, you can see people like Summerlee or AOC or Ilhan Omar, and you're like, okay, we get it. These people are representative of their constituents. But in the Senate, they're so ossified. They have these 6-year terms. And then when they're there, they're basically, their job is to keep things running as normal. So I wouldn't say they're controlled opposition in a majority of instances. I think House Democrats are more connected to their constituents for sure. And I think that the best examples of opposition to fascism that we're seeing are coming from the state level. Even I have my issues with Newsom, but I like what he's doing against Trump. J.B. Pritzker, he's standing up to Trump too. And Zoran Mamdani as well, saying, I'll arrest Netanyahu if he comes, and I'm going to stand up to Trump the whole time, because they actually have to legislate. And what Chuck Schumer and the Democrats do in the Senate is they're basically like treating it as like a contract negotiation. Oh, we've got to work with our colleagues. We've got to come up with something that makes the government function. They don't have the capacity to fight.
And I wish I was there. Once again, maybe on the next interview they will invite me. I missed their email the last time. I missed their call. I'll call Mr. Van later. I'm joking. But I don't even think it's that complicated. I don't think it's that complicated. They are paid. And when you are paid, that is where your loyalty lies. That's simple. They're not going to make the changes that they know they need to make to X, Y, and Z to benefit the majority of Americans. They're not going to do it because of money. Now, of course, when you dig a little deeper, you can find, money, power, loyalty, all these things. But at the end of it, if you was to take money out of politics, it wouldn't solve everything. I'm not that naive to be like, hey, if you take money out of politics, America would be the great country that we all want it to be. No, it's not that simple. But it would take a lot of the incentives out of decisions that these politicians make because they're getting paid by lobbyists. If you can't take money from big oil, then why would you not legislate correctly to regulate when regulation is needed? I think that will be pretty simple, right? Unless you're just an evil person and just don't care. But if you're getting paid millions of dollars, you have an incentive not to do that. And 2, 6-year terms, hey, we need to cut that down to like 4 years. Ain't nobody cannot be in power for 6 years. That is ridiculous.
Because they're like contract lawyers, basically. And I think that that's part of the problem is that the Senate as an institution, with the exception of people like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, really incentivizes people to be just institutionalists who don't rock the boat. And it's why we saw that group of senators with the consent of Schumer. He's pretending that it wasn't the case, but you can't pick it. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that you weren't involved in this negotiation to end the shutdown with these centrist Democrats, many of whom are retiring or who are not up until 2028 or 2030, which is not a coincidence. Either you weren't involved and you just like your caucus did something willy-nilly without your consent, which makes you a horrible leader. Nancy Pelosi kept her caucus together. That's part of why people thought she was an effective leader. Or you knew, which is more likely the case, and you have plausible deniability. And so Wall Street hates the shutdown. It messes with the markets, and the airline lobby was incredibly pissed and was working the phones. And that's where we are.
If a kid walked up to you,
hey, that's simple, that easy. And if you're watching this, and this is one of the biggest battles, if not the biggest battle, in my opinion, or at least what my channel is gearing towards. We already know Republican voters, either one, are wealthy, ultra wealthy, and they're only voting Republican because they want that kickback, obviously. Or 2, Republican voters, they're racist. So they're going to vote for the racist party. Pretty simple. And then 3rd, the rest of them are ignorant. They just don't care, or they're not politically inclined, and they just kind of go along just to go along. Their family is Republican, so they just vote Republican. But when it comes to Democratic voters, more so liberal voters, that is going to be the challenge, to educate them on what's going on. Why you should be a progressive. Why you should vote for candidates who are not bought and paid for. Why you should vote for candidates who actually have a real, bold policies that could only benefit you at the end of the day. And of course, nothing's perfect. It's not going to cure cancer the next day, but it's a large step towards a place in this country that I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10 agree where it needs to be. But continuing to vote for the same thing over and over and over is not going to produce new results. So stop. Please. I said please, okay? Damn.
Yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.